Alright guys, welcome back to Game and Compute. Here we are still talking about a lot of ways to improve and even just find ideas about your side hustle. Get that cash when you can, where you can. So there's some things I want to talk about again. I know I'm always saying there's some things I want to talk about, but there are. So here goes. So I want to talk about the stimulus update again. So this is maybe my third time recording a stimulus update, and I finally have something to report because I finally got my stimulus money. And so let me tell you how my process went. I think, I'm sorry if I'm wrestling around. I'm kind of looking through my wallet right now. I'm trying to find the receipt of the balance for my stimulus. And so because I want to give you guys the exact details of what my process was. Just sorry I didn't organize this first before I started recording. Okay guys, so I got my stimulus money yesterday. Yesterday's date was February 5th of 2021. Sorry, I almost forgot the year. And so I was able to I got it in the mail, and it came as it's a Visa debit card. It came in an envelope. Hold on. Alright guys, so with this economic impact payment or stimulus check, the second round, I got mine on a card, and it's a Visa card with some stars on it. $600 was already preloaded on there. All I really needed to do was go onto or call the number that was on the card, put in a PIN number that I made myself, and then it told me the balance was $600. So I went to a gas station, where that's the first purchase I made. I went into the ATM, inside the gas station, and I printed out a balance, the little balance sheet, and it said $599.75. So I'm not sure if they took out 25 cents. It didn't say anything about that on there. On the machine, it only had a fee for actual drawing money. So that's one thing that I found interesting, is that note. I'm not sure if it has $600 or $599.75. Maybe the machine took out 25 cents for printing. That's very possible. And then maybe another $2.50 when I withdrew. I think I withdrew $200 straight out of that ATM. So that's something that, I didn't do anything. I was actually told that if you didn't get, by January 15th of 2021, if you did not get your economic impact payment / stimulus money yet, then when you file your taxes, you can file them early. You can start in January filing your taxes from 2020, and on line 30, there's an option to put that you didn't get your stimulus. And so you can use that option to apply, and you're supposed to get your stimulus money that way. So my card came preloaded, had my first and last name already even on it. It came with paper, it looked like, those, like when you get a credit card, like a basic credit card in the mail, or even like an advertisement for a credit card that's like, oh, you qualify for this, call and see if you qualify, and this is your temporary card kind of version of the thing. It looked like that. It looked like one of those. And I live with other people, so I'm not always the only one who gets the mail. Other people get the mail sometimes too. And what happened was on Thursday, so that was yesterday, February 4th of 2021. One of my housemates was like knocking on my door and was saying my name, like Grace, just like not like being obnoxious, but they were just like alerting me that they were sticking mail. They kind of stick it between like the door, so they're not opening my door, but they kind of stick it in the door so that when I open the door, the paper mail just falls, you know. And they only do that when it's something important. And so I honestly think if they would not have put that in my door, I may have easily overlooked it. I don't know if I would have definitely overlooked it, but I think it's easy to overlook something like that, especially if you're used to commonly getting those weird pieces of mail. A lot of us find them annoying. And if you didn't recently apply for a credit card, you might not want one. And I usually don't even open those things. I usually just throw them out. So, I have not heard of anybody getting a paycheck. I've heard of people getting money, and I'm not sure if they have the checks like last time. I haven't heard of anyone getting one like that. But I heard of somebody getting the money automatically deposited into a certain account. Like if they had like an account, like a green dot account or some kind of an account that's like linked to like disability funds or something like that. I heard of somebody or like some kind of government fund money. I've heard of people getting their money that way automatically deposited. I'm not 100% sure if it was the first stimulus or the second, but they gave it on a card and it had like, it was almost kind of like a little American flag theme, but it didn't look like a red, white, and blue flag. It was mostly a blue card with some hint at like reddish, whitish little stars. And it had my name on it and it was ready to use. It had a chip. It's a chip card. And it's a Visa debit, basically. You cannot reload it. So, that's one thing to notice if you try to take it in somewhere and like, load it or something. That's not going to work out. You can use it at an ATM. It made some mention in the paperwork about, you can transfer funds off of that card into your bank or, wire transfers or, you can use it how you want. I just think you can't load onto the card. And it's not a credit card. So yeah, there were some other pieces of information on there too. I'll put it in the notes, but like in the description area. But yeah, I mean, they said on the website that mine was sent January 6th, so it took almost February 6th is about to be a whole month from the time when they sent it. So 28 days afterwards. That's a long length of time. So 28 whole days afterwards, I finally got mine. But yeah, guys. So I was about to file my taxes this weekend. I was like, shoot, I've been waiting. It's probably not coming. Let me just file my taxes. I have the paperwork. I was about to like try and see if they had one of those like kiosks at the mall or something where they do it for free. But yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about this second stimulus, kind of my plans for it. So I tend to like to do a good deed with any free money that I get, because I consider it a blessing. I literally was like saying like praises to God. For some people that might sound weird, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is just, it's free money from the government, So that's not something that happens often. And just the timing with it, if you guys kind of knew what was going on in my life, just the timing with it was like pretty dang convenient for me. So I was very pleased with that. But yeah, you guys, I do have plans for the funds. $600 is quite a lot of money. I've only spent it so far on a couple meals. Went out once, bought some medicinal related things, and then other than that, I haven't done anything with it, so I'm planning on saving as much of it as I can for something specific. So I'm working on putting $300 into some upcoming projects. So I would say that the 300 is going to go into purchases. So I'll explain more, but right now I mostly work on some kind of like reselling. So I'm repairing a laptop. If I need parts for it, I'll buy parts and I'm repairing it to resell. And then I'm also repairing, well, I didn't purchase it yet, but I'm looking at some iPhones online to repair. So if I'm able to get those phones by purchase, then I'll definitely repair them and then resell them. So here's a tip for this episode, if I haven't said it already. Right now, tracking trends is hard, right? I'll give you 2 ways to track trends that can be very helpful for you. So I know that whenever people hear AliExpress, it's kind of one of those things that's like, I don't want to talk about AliExpress. But let me just say, just please listen, okay? So AliExpress does have some data points about what's selling. It shows a lot of average price ranges across a lot of products that are usually manufactured quite similarly, right? So for example, I was looking at rollerblades, inline skates, right? A certain type of inline skates. They had the same, like different colors, but the same overall shell with a little bit of different hardware, and like it was a little different looking, but they had like probably at least 6 or more companies selling those. It shows how many sales are made. You can see where it's shipping from the most often, which price ranges people are willing to pay. I thought they were super cheap because I saw them between 40 and like 60 something dollars. And then once I realized, like, I was like, that seems really cheap for something that seems so good. And then I saw that like the shipping was another like 40 or something dollars. So they were on average about $100-ish, shipped from China, or branded, shipped from the US, or shipped from Korea, shipped from all kinds of countries. But people made their own brands out of these rollerblades, and you can see that they sell really well. Right now, it's still COVID times, and so people are out there, trying to get their hustle on, but also beginning of the year, they're working on their health and outdoor sports. It kind of gets people out. People are kind of reverting back to some sporting activities that they've loved before, that they maybe fell out of for even decades by now. I don't know where you live. I know in New York, rollerblades seem to have made a comeback. Where I live, roller skates seem to have made a comeback over here on the West Coast. I can't speak to any other areas of the world, but I think over summer, things like paddleboards sold out, bicycles sold out, camping gear was selling out, things like that. And so AliExpress is a good place to look to just do research on what's selling, who's buying what, how many things sold in that week, what the price ranges look like, what it looks like if it's branded versus not branded. You can build a whole brand out of something that's already doing well. So that's something that's pretty cool. So AliExpress is a good way to kind of research things, just so that, like I've mentioned before, you don't want to, when you have money you're trying to invest in a project, you don't want to just go and like, oh, let me buy a bunch of stuff and then sell it again or resell it. It's like you might lose a lot of money that way. It's good to think first, what is the minimum amount of profit I'm wanting to make? And then use that number to search for products. I tend to look towards products that are motivational towards me. So I tend to like electronics because it's something that's technological. I can learn about it. I do like sports equipment too, but just with the sizing and stuff, it gets to be a lot. And also I don't have a whole lot of space where I can like store things if it doesn't sell. So I tend to pick smaller things that can like sit in my car for a while in the trunk, or sit in my bedroom in a little corner in the closet or something like that, so it's not in the way and I'm not like tripping all over it and like breaking it or losing it and stuff. I don't want something sitting there. And another tip, the second tip I would give, let's make this a double tip clip. I like the way that sounds, a double tip clip. Mercari. So I don't know if I'm even pronouncing it correctly, but Mercari, that app. So the app actually has something cool on there, which if you play around with the filters, say if you're just using it on like your smartphone and you're playing around with the features, check out the portion that says sold, right? Because a lot of times when you're, say if I searched again for rollerblades, right? And then I go down and I see what, I keep scrolling. Then eventually it comes to a section of all the items that sold, right? And it shows when they sold, and it shows how much they sold for. And it shows you kind of, say you could see like what sizes, what brands, what types of rollerblades they're selling. And if you're able to shop around for those, maybe Play It Again Sports or some kind of used sports store, or offer up when you're buying stuff from other people. I mean, be careful with, health precautions and things like that. Obviously, I shouldn't even say it. I feel like I shouldn't even waste time mentioning that. But be careful if you're buying stuff that you can't tell if it's sanitized and you're encountering people in person. You don't know the people. You can screen them yourself and say, hey, ask them the screen questions. Have you been in contact with anybody outside of the country who's traveled, who's, been in the presence of somebody with the virus, or who's getting tested for the virus, who thinks they have symptoms? Do you have symptoms? I mean, I know maybe it's intrusive and maybe it's disrespectful, but it depends on your comfort levels. You don't want to contract a communicable kind of virus from something like you're just trying to like do your thing and like get some funds and like work on your projects and side hustles and side business and stuff, or even your small business, and then unfortunately run into the virus along the way from something that could be easily, maybe not easily, but it can be avoided if the other person is going to be honest and they're like, look, you can at least have them sanitize something, or like you can take the precautions you need if you're sure that somebody might be more risky. If they can assure you that they're not at risk, or if there's no reason to think they're at risk, then fine, But I mean, who's to say if something gets shipped to you, it's any safer, right? I don't really know the rules between all these things. So, I don't really know how this virus really, really works, but I'm just saying, like, I know there's a lot of discomfort around meeting strangers in person and exchanging items, exchanging money, being in the same, area. You can do like 6 feet. Like, I had somebody once, I was giving them like a bag, like groceries of food. And so I was dropping it off to them, and I left it, I saw them like at their door, walkway, and they saw me at my car. And then I parked my car, walked over, dropped the bag of food, not dropped, but left the bag of food within a 6 feet distance of them, walked back to my car. Then they walked over to the food and picked it up. That was their comfort. They mentioned that's what they wanted to do. So, I mean, it's good to be respectful for yourself, respectful to the other person. And you're just they're trying to make a sale. You're trying to, make a purchase. That's all it really is. It shouldn't have to be some disrespectful thing. it's still, it's always good to be polite and kind, but in times like this, when people don't really want to be meeting strangers, it might be on your end, you don't want to meet them. It might be on their end, they don't want to meet you. So that's why I mentioned when I say OfferUp, a lot of times like OfferUp and Let's Go tends to be a lot of picking up stuff from people. When you've agreed you're going to meet in person, you're going to look at the item, inspect the item, test the item. I mean, it's hard to do that. You can wear gloves and everything and make them wear gloves and everything. I mean, just do what you can for your own safety and for the safety of others. But, I'm not recording this to say that. Like, basically what I'm trying to get at is, OfferUp is a way to actually get something fast, right? So say if you are trying to get rollerblades, OfferUp is a way to go quickly to get them. And rollerblades are actually a niche right now that seems to be pretty poppin'. Roller skates too, but rollerblades too. I live near a skate park and it's pretty packed lately. Snowboard gear too, winter sports gear. But depending where you live, I mean, I'm in Southern California. That's not really like, people go up to the mountains and stuff here. I mean, I'm probably going to go up in about a week or so. But people do go up to the mountains. They snowboard, they ski, they play in the snow, do sledding, whatever. But it's like 2.5 hours away. And then there are some places maybe like an hour and a half away, but it's not like there's snow unless there's like a storm. Because, it's Southern California. The sun melts everything. So yeah, so Mercari has this feature that says sold. So what you can actually do is turn on the feature so that you only see the stuff that was sold, right? And then you can inspect or kind of like analyze the information on there and see what was sold. And basically you can look at it and say, hey, this item was sold on this day, and it was this type of item. And you can kind of categorize. I mean, you don't have to take like ages, but like, look, if it's men's hard-shelled inline skates that sold yesterday for $80, and then someone else had the same size 9 sold today for $70, and someone else sold one for like $60 today, and someone else sold it for like 85 yesterday. You're seeing that, like, okay, with size 9s of these types of rollerblades, even if it's not by brand, it's by the type, 4 people already sold them. You can look at it to see. Actually, I don't know if you can do this. So I know if you're going to buy something, if you put it in your cart, but before you purchase it, it says how many people have this in their cart. You can actually see the amount of likes that an item got, and views that an item got. I think you can see the views of other people's. So I think when you're looking at the ones that were sold, you can see how many people were viewing it, how many people actually liked it. When you like something, it kind of saves the updated information for you. So say if I liked a pair of men's size 9 rollerblades that were blue and K2 brand or whatever, and I saw them and I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna like this. And what it does is it'll alert me, like, say if the seller kind of drops the price from $85 to $83 or something, it'll alert me, hey, like, the price dropped or something. Like, it kind of tells you if someone else bought it. It tells you a lot of more information, and so I might want that. But yeah, I think it's just really important to not waste, and I would just caution against not knowing what you purchase. And one way to do simple research, honestly, is just that, looking at the apps, looking at the features in the apps, and gathering what you can. Yes, you can pay a market researcher. Yes, you can spend a whole lot of time, but if you're in a bind and you don't have a lot of time, you can use services like OfferUp to buy something that you think you can flip really quick. And tell yourself, like, hey, like, say if I want to make a $20 profit for these rollerblades, and I see I can sell them up to like $60 to $80, and I can try and see if I can get the price down to $40 over there. That's a $20 to $40 profit from something you drove 15 minutes, maybe waited it's maybe a 30-45 minute total round trip waiting for the person, talking to them, paying them the cash, and then hopefully sell it. One other method, I wouldn't recommend this, but another method is posting something before you have it. I would say it's almost like a test method. I mean, I used to do that on eBay back in the day. See how many people will actually bid on something that I knew I was going to have. Like, say if I already bought it and it was kind of like an arbitrage kind of thing. Say if I already purchased it and I knew it was on the way, I might post it just to make sure. Or if I was in the process of purchasing something and I was bidding on it, I might post the same version of it elsewhere to see, hey, how much are people willing to pay for this thing? You know what I mean? Before I actually like cash out or sorry, before I actually like purchase an item. And so sometimes that can kind of help. Again, it's not 100%. You can't pressure people into buying stuff. You don't want to be harassing them like you said you were going to pay. Yeah, and there are a lot of dishonest people online. There are a lot of people who won't pay you. So Mercari, say if you're reselling something on Mercari, you have to put the tracking. You can see based on the tracking once the item arrives, and for you to get your money, the buyer has to send in a rating and it sends like a notification saying like, okay, they have to rate you high enough and not like have complaints about your item to a point where they're gonna request a refund, and it has to get approved basically for you to get your money. The second they do their part on clicking it, and they can take up to 3 days, but and before Mercari starts alerting them, it doesn't mean you're definitely gonna get your money, but they can take up to 3 days with it. And sometimes people just don't check back. They get the item and you're like, I was expecting that $15 for my headphones that I sold, and nothing, so you can't really predict if it was supposed to be, 9 p.m. you saw that it got delivered to the person. There's nothing you can do sometimes, unfortunately, guys. So, yeah, those are the things that I would say that I totally notice. And you can use those methods. I would say the method of posting something that you don't physically have is almost like going and, taking a gamble on something, or, almost like using credit before you know where the money is going to come from. You know that you're going to have to pay it anyways. Things like that, where it's like you might get yourself in a situation that's even worse. Get some low ratings. You might get your account frozen. You might get some complaints on there, and it might freeze some of your money. So when you actually are legit selling stuff, it might, you might not have the standing to be able to just get your money right away, or whatever it may be. It might kind of damage some of the ease of the process. And let me tell you right now, guys, things are not easy. A lot of people are selling stuff because they don't have any money, so they want to sell things to get more money. I mean, I'm not like bagging on people. I mean, I've done the same thing where it's like, dude, I could use an extra however many dollars, and not want to like rely on my income or rely on some other kind of paycheck or rely on things like that. And like, I want it to be extra, so let me sell some stuff that I know isn't being used immediately right now, and go and like sell it online. And, I've run into that issue before too, where it's like, you just want to sell some stuff to get some quick cash. I mean, I'm not one to judge, and then it's another thing to, want to sell something. It's another thing when now you have a competitive market of people selling used things, used equipment, used everything. But the trends are also changing with people being indoors, with it being winter, with it being a pandemic, with all the things coming up about, stimulus and like extra money from the government since 2021. There's different like EIDL funds, different small business funds, PPP funds, all kinds of economic relief money. Of course, some of us don't qualify for hardly any of it. Some of us might, though. So it's important to look into. There's this guy called Lesko online. I've talked about him before. Lesko tends to have a lot of updated information on that. And there's another lady I follow who's had a lot of information on that too. Things like how to get business credit during COVID. Different things like this. I'll post it in the show notes in the description below. But yeah, guys, these are just some ideas for you. I want to drop some of those gems for you so you just kind of know. Those are some ways. They're not foolproof ways. They're not 110%. Like, you're definitely going to make a profit. You're definitely going to make a sale if you try any of those 3 methods. But they're definitely methods that can help you to at least give you some kind of suggestion or some kind of way to kind of like speculate what to expect. And I would always say, pilot test. If you see that this rollerblade's selling really well over here, maybe don't go and buy like 600 of them at once, even if you can afford it. Maybe test it. Maybe buy like 5, 6, 20, 10, like some amount that kind of makes more sense to you. If you're using Amazon Marketplace, that's a cool thing too. I think I could be wrong. I still don't want to be wrong saying this, guys, and I apologize if I am, but I believe there's like FBA or something on Amazon where it works like your storage for Amazon, so you don't have to actually like have the items physically on you to resell. Now, I don't know what that works with. And Amazon, I've noticed they don't really do a lot of used stuff anymore. At least not like they used to. I mean, Amazon used to be almost like eBay or those other stores where you can just buy and sell used stuff. I feel like Mercari, Let's Go, OfferUp, those are kind of almost like a used, kind of like it's a little higher price ranges from like a garage sale or yard sale. Because you are kind of competing with other people. So it actually tells you how much you're going to make. It tells you how many people have sold within a certain range of money. And so if something's selling, there's like a line, I think it's like a blue line and a red line. So if you're in the red line, that means that, it says like you're probably going to be waiting a little bit longer than usual to sell this because people are selling it cheaper, which is towards that blue range. You also have options of like, I think DHL, USPS, and UPS shipping. You have a lot of shipping options. So yeah, check out Mercari, check out OfferUp, Let's Go. I've mentioned them before. Check out the description below. If you guys like this stuff, go ahead and like it. Go ahead and comment on it. Go ahead and subscribe so you can hear more. Game and Compute on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Anchor. Check it out, guys. I don't know if we're on anything else, but if we aren't, we'll try and get there. And hopefully I'm going to be able to keep dropping gems. Stay tuned. Trying to give you guys as much knowledge as I can with it's little bits of information. Sometimes if you just implement them routinely, they'll go a long way. Trust me. I've seen it myself. If you get your stimulus, and I hope you do, if you get it, if you get the economic impact payment, I got to start saying it correctly because I guess that's what they call it on the envelope. If you get that money, make a decision now what you want to do with it and spend it the way you want. If you want to make a profit, keep that number in your mind. And per item, you're going to have to itemize, how much product you're going to have to sell to get to that number. So set your goals now, do the research now, do the research about how much cost you're expecting. Write it down mathematically if you need to. I have notebooks full of stuff, which is kind of just my own speculations and notes that go with it. And it's kind of like, this is what I was thinking. Sometimes it seems good when you're looking at it. You get like maybe that little like rush, that little kind of like adrenaline rush. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to go buy all this stuff. And like, I was thinking that like like last night when I got the check, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all these rollerblades. And I'm like, oh, thank God I kind of slept on it. Thank God I kind of just didn't impulse buy. Sometimes it helps. I started telling myself, put something in the cart for 30 minutes and then think about it. Don't just like buy immediately. I try not to have that as an option of a button, just to buy immediately. And because unless I'm like in a bid war or something like that, man, no. um yeah, also check out liquidation. That's a hard site because I think when you bid you get charged $1 every time, but even if you lose, and you have to make an account and it has to be approved and everything, so it's not the easiest. But if you aren't buying like big crates of stuff and lots and boxes and truckloads of things, you can kind of find some gems on liquidation.com as well. Again, guys, do the research. Use AliExpress and use Mercari to do the research. You can see what's been sold. You can see how much. If you write it down into categories, if you're starting to see trends, the trends that seem to be doing the best, that's kind of where you're going to look at for the actual potential. Again, it might be something boring like plastic toothpicks or something. I mean, like, it's hard to get pumped up about certain stuff. You're not gonna be like, yeah, I'm selling toothpicks, but I mean, if it's making you a lot of money, that might pump you up. But sometimes it's more fun to have something that you're like a collector's item that you're learning about or something. You get to kind of learn about it, and like, say if it's like an action figure from like the 1960s or something, like Star Wars action figures and stuff, or spacecrafts from Star Wars, like the first like toys and stuff, and like you're like looking into it, like collector's items. That stuff is like, it's fun to geek out on. It's fun to listen to other podcasts. It's fun to watch YouTube videos about people talking about it and just like absorb the information. You're learning in the process. If you get really good at it and you start selling stuff and you learn a lot about it, you can blog about it, you can podcast about it, you can write about it, make some books about it, like keep promoting more and more into what be well-rounded and not just like looking for the actual money. Try to contribute back, to the community around you, and to people who can, help other people like benefit themselves, to kind of see some value in some of the work they're putting in, to get like motivated and pumped up about something in life, to just kind of like get that adrenaline flowing, to kind of just like, it's not all about making money, but I mean, I like the project of it. And to me, making the money is almost like when you're playing a video game and you get to the next level. It's like, I know by the time I get to the boss at the end, the very last final boss, or like even if there is one, and it's just one of those games that continues for series after series, maybe there's not really an end to it. Like something like Candy Crush that takes almost ages. You delete it before you beat it, kind of thing. But yeah, if it's something along those lines, yeah, it can be really rewarding. I like the process of learning new skills, learning how to repair certain stuff that I really kind of geek out on, seeing the new technology come out that I'm like, oh, this one has like these touch screens and this cool like sensor fingerprint thing, that the other stuff didn't have, and like learning about the technology of like, oh, if that sensor breaks, how do I fix it? iPhones are an easy product to learn about. They break all the time too. Like, people break them, let me put it that way. They don't just like break on their own. But they break, and then people always have certain things they want to replace, like on the older models, like the home button, or some of the side buttons, or the battery is a big one, the cameras, things like that. If you learn how to repair small things like that, I mean, you can buy stuff that people would find almost obsolete and resell it at a pretty decent profit. And like, you'll know how much it resells for. You'll know what's a good price to buy for. You'll know how much is a decent profit when you start looking at the trends. It's all about the trends, guys, sometimes with all this stuff. But, also keep having fun with it. It's a combination of things. It shouldn't always be about the money. Sometimes it is about the money. We all got to eat. But when you get money too, you know, it's always good to give back. Financially, if you can, it's always good to give back in like a valuable way to a community. Just give, you know. When you get, try to give. It just completes that cycle. You don't want to just keep getting. You know, if you're fat and everybody around you is starving and skinny and, you know, skin and bones, and you're all like plumped up, fat, well fed, it's like, that's not going to be fun for too long. You know, you want to share the success. Share the success with your loved ones. If you don't have loved ones, or if you don't want to, you know, if that's not comfortable for you, or if you have other preferences, give to charity, give to, you know, give to somebody who you see in front of your eyes that needs the money. I'm not saying like you have to give all your money away. That's up to you. But I mean, if you, you know, don't, I just think it's best to not get too caught up in the money, because that's not very motivating for too long. And if it is, it's in a way, it's like an empty motivation, right? That's just my 2 cents on it all. But well, thanks for listening. I'm freezing, so I'm gonna go back in the house, and hopefully this was helpful. Third recording or so about the second economic impact payment, 2021. Some people got it very end of 2020, but they're still coming in, I guess, if I just got mine in February. So, and my friend is trying to get theirs through filing their taxes, and I have a cousin, like I said, who got his in December of 2020. So yeah, guys, well, thanks for listening. Bye.